Good evening. I'm not on. Can you hear me? Yes. Good. Is on? Okay. I am a parent. I am a former teacher at the high school as well as the middle school level, as well as at the college level. I am a former administrator, middle school, high school, district, and state level. I am running for District 4 school board because I feel that my experience in the area of education, 37 years to be exact, will benefit the constituents, the family, the children, the families, the children, the business owners in our county to help us to move forward and do those things that are productive for our community. I have served on several boards. I served one term at the state, on the state board. So I understand the workings of school boards. I understand that in order for us to have a productive school board, you must understand board protocol, adhere to board protocol, and know what our responsibilities are. Our responsibilities will be to assist the school district by voting for those items that will benefit all the schools in Williamsburg County. I understand that responsibility, and I am willing and ready to do that. Thank you. I need your vote. District 4.
Good afternoon, good evening now. My name is Marva Gail Cannon. I am currently up for re-election in District 5. I am a parent, a grandparent, the daughter of an educator. My daughter currently serves as an educator here in Williamsburg County. So I've been in education many years as well. I've worked in Florence 3 for 13 years as a speech-language pathologist. Came to Williamsburg County as a speech-language pathologist. Then I became the coordinator of itinerant services. I was promoted to director of special education. I retired from that position. So I am familiar with the curriculum of regular and special education students. I am familiar with budgeting. I know what maintenance of effort is. It is my goal to continue to serve you as a member of the school board. I joined this board 4 years ago, and I will say that when I was not a part of the board when the state took over, but upon my coming to the board, one of the things that we began to do, because the board was not doing anything anywhere, but we started to meet with the State Department, and we developed those partnerships. Relationships are very important. And so my platform is very simple. Restoring our schools and our boards, building bridges to communities, businesses, governmental leaderships, and all of that hinges on keeping students first. Every decision must be made knowing that if it's best for the students, then it is best for the county. Thank you.
Thank you. District 6, Hayward Baker.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Hayward Baker, and I'm a write-in candidate for District 6. I was born and raised in Williamsburg County. I grew up on a farm about 5 miles south of Kingstree. My parents had an insurance business here, Inglesey Baker and Opal Baker. Went to school in Charleston. After that, I started working with the federal government and moved to Washington, D.C. So I had a 30-year career with USDA in Washington, D.C. My responsibilities were broad and they were very important. I managed programs, created programs, dealt with regulations, dealt with our congressman on Capitol Hill during the Farm Bill negotiations. We provided the safety net for farmers, the various programs that were developed and also sold by the private insurance companies throughout the country. And my role in the government was managing that relationship with the private industry. And basically I traveled the whole country, working with folks involved with the program, farmers, and also did business in Europe, several countries there with the companies that provided reinsurance for companies that sold the insurance across the country. Now, my experience is very broad in administrative duties. And the reason that I would like to be written in as the board member for District 6 is I want to give back. I started volunteering in Berkeley County as a reading tutor, and now I'm working with special needs children at Broad Step, helping create the Broad Step School there. So my love is really working with those children. And what I found is that they're academically, they're consistent with other kids throughout the district. So we need to bring them up to a level where they can function in society and be successful. Thank you.
At large, Kenneth Burgess.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dr. Kenneth Burgess. I'm a candidate for the Williamsburg County School Board seat at large. And for the past 35 years, I've been educating children right here in Williamsburg County and throughout South Carolina. I'm a widower to the late Teresa Britton Burgess, who also was an educator right here in South Carolina. My parents, Leroy Burgess Sr. and the late Patsy Bar Burgess, both retired educators right here in South Carolina. My children attended schools right here in Williamsburg County. I'm a member of Wilson Chapel First Missionary Baptist Church, where I serve on the trustee board. I've been blessed to receive my doctorate of education from the University of Sarasota, down in Sarasota, Florida, my educational specialty degree, my master's degree, and my bachelor of science degree from North Carolina A&T State University in vocational agriculture. I started my career at the Old Williamsburg Blakely High School. For over 20 years, I taught school in Hemingway High School and Hemingway Vocational Center. I was an assistant principal, I was a director of human resource, director of administration, director of career and technology education. I also was the truancy officer with this county, and also, I did many things. I'm a former Army officer, where I served with the 1052nd right here in Williamsburg County for over 12 years, and a captain and an administrator with plenty of years service to our National Guard. I want you to know, I'm not just running for this office just by choice. I'm running because I want to. I know that kids need someone who knows about education. I've been in this classroom for over 35 years. I understand kids. I understand the needs, and I pray that I get your vote on November 8th. Thank you.
Thank you. Cecil McKnight.
Good evening, everyone. We make sure that I speak to everyone this evening. I get accused of that sometimes. So hello, everyone. I'm Caesar McKnight, and I'm running for the at-large seat that was held by my classmate and good friend, James Dukes. First of all, let me tell you that we are at a crisis, but we also have a wonderful opportunity here with regard to education. Education impacts every facet of our life. You may say, well, I don't have a child in school, but guess what? Your property value of your home is directly tied to education. And if you look at the property values of Florence County, Clarendon County, Georgetown County, and all the counties that surround us, they're high. Why is that? Because they have decent schools. And I'm here to tell you that regardless of where you are, even if your child is in a private school, if you live here, we're either going to swim together or we're going to drown together. It's that serious. It's time for innovative ideas, and I'm for the premise that parent input input is of the utmost importance. We don't tell the parents what to do. The parents tell us what to do because their children are our customers. I want to let you know that I believe that we've got an opportunity to go from being one of the worst school districts to being the best school districts. I believe that if we come together, listen, and act as a board, and that is enact policy and not micromanage the day-to-day efforts of educators, you will see that the Williamsburg County School District will be thriving. I'm a product of Williamsburg County School District. I graduated in 1992 from Kingstree Senior High. I got my law degree from Florida Coastal School of Law. I earned my bachelor's degree in paralegal studies from Morris Brown College in 1996. And I too served in the United States Army for over 8 years. Thank you, and we'll talk again.
Thank you. And now for our questions. We ask that you continue to stick with the 2 minutes or less. Thank you. Why are you running for the school board? In other words, is there a particular issue that motivates you to serve on the Board of Education? And I'll ask that we start with District 4,
Yes, there is a particular issue as to why I'm running for Williamsburg County School Board. And that is that we need to ensure that our children, once again, have the education that they need in order to be successful when they leave the 12th grade from Williamsburg County. It does not matter whether they go into the military, if they go to college, whatever career they choose, they need to have the skills that they need in order to be successful. I'm also running because everything that our educational system does, it affects everything else in this county. It affects jobs, it affects whether or not business and industry will come to this county. Companies are not looking for counties whose scores and whose educational systems are not functional. They will not come. And if they don't come, then when our children graduate, where are they going? I saw in the paper 2 weeks ago that our population is dwindling. Therefore, we lost a lot of money. The county did. So if the county lost money, then you know the school district will also lose money because we don't have those students in the seats, in the classrooms. Also, I am running to ensure that we are fiscally sound. You cannot have a system operating and functioning without the funds it needs in order to pay teachers, in order to pay good administrators, in order to pay good or excellent superintendents, in order to continue to keep the lights on in the buildings. So we have to have funds for that. And we must have a fund balance in place as well to compensate any time there is an issue that we do not plan for. Thank you.
District 5, Ms. Moore McKinney.
Madam Moderator, was your question a two-part question? Would you let me repeat,
And I
please?
will repeat the question.
Thank you.
Why are you running for the school board? In other words, is there a particular issue that motivates you to serve on the Board of Education?
I am running for school board because of my love for children, because of my love to see children achieve and progress and be successful. I am running for school board because I know that the foundation begins with a good, solid education. Nothing is possible without reading, writing, and, as they would say, arithmetic. The major reason I decided to run is because I saw the need for a change. I saw the need for innovative ideas. I see the need for us to move forward. I love Williamsburg County. Williamsburg County has produced successful people that serve all over the country. And that's then, but we can do it now. It's no reason why our children cannot. There are many potentials here. I see it every day. I look into the eyes of students. I look at them. I talk to them. I travel around the county. There is potential, but what we have to do is provide the opportunity. As a board, it is important to understand, and I will agree with what Ms. Gamble just said. We have to know as a board our role and our responsibility. We hire one person. Our role is to put policies and procedures in place that will ensure that one person, who's the superintendent, carries out the orders so that our children can learn, our teachers can be successful, and we can provide to them what they need so that our students, our children, I don't have a child in school, but every child, they are our children because they belong to my neighbors, they belong to my church members, and I love them all, I care for them all, and I take my passion with me as I provide for the children. Students first.
Thank you. District 6, Mr. Hayward Baker.
Thank you. One of the best pieces of advice I received when working for the government was, don't forget where you came from. And I love this county, I love the people in it, and I always knew one day I would come back. Now, I've not always been involved in education, and that was a recent thing for me because I wanted to start giving back. So I started volunteering, as a reading tutor, and now I work with special needs children. The fact is that most all the kids here are behind, okay? They need to catch up. We've got to create programs for them, and all of us should be involved, whether you volunteer, the teachers, the parents, I don't care who. We all have a job to do to ensure these kids are lifted up to the level that is appropriate for their age and grade level. Because without that, we can't graduate kids that really aren't ready to be graduated. And they need a backup plan as well. A liberal arts education is great, okay? Preparing them for college is wonderful. But we need to prepare them also for the workforce. This is where it makes a difference. Because unless we are attracting industry here, how are we going to grow? How are our property values going to go up? How is our tax base going to increase? How are we going to ever build new schools? I'm a firm believer in retooling and rebuilding. And what we have done so far, I think, is very good. Just refabricating what we have. Changing, our curriculum, adding things we need, like programs that help with these kids that are behind. We need to continue that. Also, I believe that special need program needs additional focus. We have some kids that are, highly functional. They need assistance as well. Thank you.
At large, Dr. Kenneth Burgess. Do you need me to repeat the question?
No, ma'am. As your school board member, I would work hard to make sure that our kids achieve what they need to achieve. But in order to do that, we need to make sure that all stakeholders are feeling valued. When I say value and integrity and character, these are characteristics that we need to have throughout our system. Children from the school bus to the superintendent getting on the bus, they need to feel valued. What happens a lot of times, in my experience, 35 years or 20 years of teaching, most of the children don't feel valued. Most of the teachers don't feel valued. We need folks that will work when nobody's looking. We need principals that will be a principal and administrator in schools when the superintendent don't have to walk behind them and check on them. If people are feeling valued, then it will work. If a child feels valued, they will work. But what has happened, during the time I've seen, a lot of our teachers don't feel valued, the bus drivers don't feel valued. We need folks to feel valued. Integrity, character. That's what I'm all about. You can't get nothing done if you don't build these characteristics in people and children. Sure, a lot of kids come ready to school, ready to learn, but a lot of them not. During my 20 years in the classroom, I understand education. I understand what kids need. They have to have the resources. You can give them all the resources you want in the world, but if they don't feel valued and they don't have the integrity and the character, then we're just wasting our time. trying to put money in a school system where folks don't feel valued. Sure, I understand education, and I value education, because education brought me where I am. It's a resource to get you where you need to go. But at the same time, we always got to come back home and make sure that we understand each other and feel valued. Thank you.
Mr. Caesar McKnight,
Could you please repeat the question?
why are you running for the school board? In other words, is there a particular issue that motivates you to serve on the Board of Education?
The reason I'm running for the school board is because I believe that we need to desperately do something to shore up our education system. As I said earlier, the biggest driver of the economy in this area is our school district. It's our schools. And if they're failing, we're failing. And let me just say this. I'm not a big proponent of suggesting that everyone has to go to college. I know that there's several people that haven't gone to college and they're doing quite well. However, they need a good education so that they can go out into the world and be successful. The most important reason I'm running is because I don't want a child to feel the way that I felt when I first got to college my freshman year. I was in AP classes, but when I got to Morris Brown, I had to take a placement test. And I ended up in a remedial math class. That hurt me because I went to school with kids who were from Compton and Newark and Patterson, New Jersey, and just places I heard that weren't good places. But they ran circles around me. So I had to take my textbook, study that night, and come to class the night before and hide the textbook in the ceiling tiles so no one would see me carry that 099 math book. I don't want another child to feel that way because that hurt me. And whereas I sucked it up and drove on, it may be enough to deter somebody from their goals and their endeavors. I think every child needs the opportunity to have a great education, and that's why I'm here.
Thank you, Candace. Question 2. What in your background leads you to believe that you would be an effective school board member? We will begin with District 5, Marva King.
What in my background leads me to think I would be an effective board member?
Leads you to believe.
My background, I have a Bachelor of Science degree in speech pathology and audiology. I have a master's degree in elementary education. I have a master's degree in communication disorders. I have an educational specialist degree in administration. So I feel that I have the educational background. Beyond that, being on the board means more than just having an education. You have to have vision. You have to have leadership skills. I have served in many capacities in leadership positions. I have served as the past president of the Kingstree-Lake City Alumnae chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority, past worthy matron, Ada chapter number 336. I currently serve as president of the Williamsburg County Education Association, retired. I served as treasurer, still on the board of the county libraries of Williamsburg County, to include Kingstree, Hemingway, and Greeleyville. So my entire life, all of my career, I've spent in service and giving back to the community in Williamsburg County. I understand that we represent districts, but as a board, when industry looks at us, they don't say, oh, I'm going to Williamsburg County because District 3 looks really great. District 5 looks really great. No, they look at Williamsburg County. It grieves me when I hear legislators say businesses won't come because of the educational system. I believe that I have the background that we can change that narrative. We can change the culture and we can change the climate. I believe that I am a change agent. Thank you.
What in your background leads you to believe that you would be an effective school board member? Mr. Hayward Baker, District 6.
Well, during my career in government, I worked at the highest level with congressmen, insurance company CEOs, In our corporation, the Federal Crop Insurance Corporation, we held monthly board meetings. Most of those board meetings, I had to provide briefings to them on issues of the day, upcoming issues, programs being developed, how that would impact the industry, how it might better, the programs that we are providing to the farmers. Also, collaboration with other entities within the government. We work together to form great analysis tools used by the weather folks to be able to track, certain diseases and viruses across the country and how they might impact crops. So I've had a lot of experience working with the people that are on boards, okay, for companies, insurance companies, and government agencies. Currently I'm also on the board here in Kingstree, Board of Zoning Appeals. But, that being said, I have a lot of experience in administrative work, management, working with people. I had a vast responsibility. I alone developed programs, me and my staff, that basically created billions of dollars, okay, in protection for these farmers. So I have a lot of experience. Board level work is something I would be used to. Thank you.
What in your background leads you to believe you would be an effective school board member? At large, Dr. Kenneth Burgess.
Thank you. As I look at my background, starting from ROTC in college, being commissioned as a National Guard Army officer, education-wise, starting as a teacher, teaching students, making sure I understand them, making sure I understand what it takes for a child to get from K-1 to K-12, graduating. In my background, as a hearing officer for the Williamsburg County School District for a couple of years, and also as a truancy officer, riding around 900 and something square miles, I think, in this county, checking on kids who's not going to school. I understand what goes through children and grandparents who trying to raise a 15-year-old, why they're not coming to school. I understand when we have hearings at the district office, how to give children a second chance, because someone gave us a second chance. I understand being an assistant principal and waiting out there on kids after school and making sure they're safe. I understand being the director of human resource for Williamsburg County School District, hiring our bus drivers from our teachers, all our employees. I did that, and I feel that my experiences with Williamsburg County School District for over 35 years give me the right to be in this seat. But it's not my seat, it's the people's seat. I'm here for children. I want you to know I'm here for children, and this is not a go-by-day job. I take it serious. I believe in giving 100% commitment for children, because that's what I've been doing. It's in my DNA, and that's what I've been doing all my life, giving. So I understand the importance of children first. That's one thing I want to make sure we put children first, but we got to understand to make sure that we keep them first by doing the necessary things, by providing the necessary resources for them. Thank you.
What in your background leads you to believe that you would be an effective school board member? Caesar McKnight.
Thank you. Most recently, I just came off of the Morris Brown College Board of Trustees, and I served in that capacity for 4 years. What's the most beneficial thing about being on Morris Brown's board, or the thing that gives me the most experience, is for 23 years prior to that, Morris Brown didn't have any accreditation at all. And so it was my board that we worked very hard, and for the first time in 20 years, we got Morris Brown College reaccredited. And that means we had to work hard with Dr. James, who came in. It was his first term as a president of any university, and with his vision and our backing, we were able to make history. So now Morris Brown is accredited for the first time in 20-something years, which means we now have federal financial aid. We're able to take on students from all over the world again, and that's something that I'm very proud of. So I had to work very hard over the years during COVID when we couldn't meet, and we had to be on Zoom meetings talking with people who could become potential professors, getting people to donate to the school. And it's kind of hard to get someone to donate to something when it's failing. But we turned it around. So I'm proud of that, and it was that experience that I had in taking something that was on the verge of closing and bringing it back to life that I think best equips me to participate and be an effective member of the Williamsburg County Board of Trustees.
What in your background leads you to believe that you would be an effective school board member? Ms. Janice Campbell.
Well, first of all, I accepted Christ at a very early age. So therefore I have a moral compass. I try always to do those things that are right and good in his eyesight. Secondly, I have 4 children, and they all went through the school system here in Williamsburg County. So I understand how parents feel when they have to go to the principal's office with a child. Because with 4 children, some I didn't have to go with, but others I did. So I understand that as a parent. I taught middle school as well as high school. So as a teacher, I know what it means to be in that classroom and you trying to get your students on board. I understand how that child feels because I sat in the classrooms here in Williamsburg County as well. As an administrator, working in Williamsburg County and at the state level, I understand you can't get anything done if you don't have people coming with you. You can be a leader, but you have to have everyone singing the same tune at the same time. You're going to have harmony. I worked as the assistant superintendent of education here for 5 years. Our school district went from being in the bottom 3 districts in the state to the top 3 in the state. I understand title programs because I was the assistant superintendent of federal programs. I understand the need for money to be placed in our parenting programs. I understand the fact that we need to write grants to make sure we have the funds we need for our students. So I have been in each person's seat: parent, teacher, administrator, supervisor. That's why I'm qualified. And I've served on several boards. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now have some questions from our audience. What ideas / plans can we put in place to obtain certified teachers and keep their retention rate high? What ideas, plans can we put in place to obtain certified teachers and keep their retention rate high? We'll begin with District 6, David Ritter.
Thank you. Well, teacher retention is a huge problem here, and this is something I've thought about a lot, in regards to how can we bring teachers back into the county in addition to students back into the public school system. And largely it's the environment, okay? We need to create an environment that's conducive to them coming here and wanting to live here. We have a housing shortage here. We need to be able to make housing available for teachers. Perhaps even a subsidy towards, their rent. These foreign teachers that come in, they have a stipend they have to pay whoever is located them to come here in addition to whatever rent or house payment they might have. So they have to pay double really what their housing costs are. And then again, we have a foundation, I think, that's kind of gone by the wayside, and we need to revive that again and go out and seek, some contributions from the businesses here and get more businesses around Kingstree and the county involved in the public school system and not just Williamsburg Academy. They need to focus on this education program system here as well. but teachers need an incentive to come here, and I think we should create that. I mean, basically do whatever it takes to try to get our teachers. I mean, there are certain incentive programs, bonus programs. You know, now that, you know, thank goodness the financial situation of the district is under control, you know, perhaps there is something we can do to achieve that end. But, you know, largely, we have to create an environment, and to create a safe environment in our school system that warrants teachers wanting to be a teacher in the Williamsburg County school system.
What ideas, plans can we put in place to obtain certified teachers and keep their retention rate high? Mr. Stephen Knapp.
First of all, we've got to figure out a way to pay teachers more money. That's the number one thing. That's what I hear when I talk to my colleagues. People that I know that are from here and they teach in other areas. So you say, well, how do we do that? Well, we're going to have to get innovative with the way we do things in our school district. We're smaller, so we can't run the district the way that we ran it 30 years ago. We don't have the population and or resources. So we're going to have to figure out cost-saving measures so that we can have the money. What are some of those? Well, one, maybe we can privatize our bus system. Charleston County is way bigger than us, and their bus system is privatized. So with the savings that we make in other areas, I believe that those savings should go directly to teacher pay. The other thing is we've got to create an atmosphere that's free of acrimony where teachers want to come to work. We can't have a system where it's poisonous, it's top down, it's heavy, and we have teachers who are afraid to look wrong at a member of the Board of Trustees for fear of being sent off somewhere. That's not conducive. So, because we've always been poor, but we've also had good educators. I know, I had a few of them, but we're going to have to figure out ways of saving money, paying our teachers more, and creating a climate where they feel wanted, appreciated, and needed. So that's what we're going to have to do, but it's just not us that's suffering from a teacher shortage. It's every district in the state. And when you've got districts close to us that are paying lots of money, like Georgetown or and the rest, it's hard for us to attract them. But I believe we can do it if we pay them more and give them a happier work environment. Thanks.
What ideas, plans can we put in place to obtain certified teachers and keep their retention rate high? Mr. Kenneth Burgess. Dr. Kenneth Burgess.
Thank you. As I said again, it goes back to valuing the folks that you bring here. Sure, we can pay our teachers a lot of money, but that starts from, a lot of times, introducing bills at our Capitol, from our legislators and so forth. They can help us a lot too. Of course, we can get grants and things of that nature that we bring in, but a lot of times as a school board member, we can create policy and we can implement policy. But at the same time, we need everyone working to get teacher pay and make sure that we, as a board member, is looking more beyond just ourselves for a position. In order to get this wheel going, everyone, again, like I said, we have to work together as parents, guardians, community members, community leaders. It's everyone's responsibility to make sure that we get 100% commitment from ourselves. So as I look at trying to make the system better, we have to make sure we start with ourselves. Everyone is responsible. Every stakeholder should be held accountable, whether it's a board member, whether it's the superintendent, whether it's that teacher, whether it's that parent. We have to go and dig deep and make sure that we understand what we're trying to do as educators. Because my experience being in the classroom and not having enough materials and resources, a lot of us can dig in our pocket and get it, but you have a lot of folks who come here that don't have that. So we want to make sure that we, as individuals, a community, working together with our community leaders, working together with our legislators, and also coming up with innovative ideas ourselves. We wrote grants. As the director of human resource, I wrote a lot of grants to get money to come here from folks. So I think, we need to just work together. Thank you.
Thank you. What ideas, plans can we put in place to obtain certified teachers and keep their, am I gonna do that right? Thank you. What ideas, plans can we put in place to obtain certified teachers and keep their retention rate high? Ms. Mulligan.
Ideas and plans. What about let's shore up our teacher cadet programs? What about let's make sure that we get our brightest and our best and encourage them to go away, become a teacher, and come back and give to the community? What if we grow our own? That way, what else I'm talking about, the population dwindling. But if we grow our own and we give them jobs right here, teaching their own children and their neighbors' children, they stay here. They raise their families here. They have children here. That increases our population. Retention, housing is a problem. We have a foundation, a Williamsburg County Public School Foundation. Why don't we make that old district office a house, apartment complex, and get teachers in here, give them reduced rent so that they will want to stay? That's an incentive. And what about not all the ideas coming from those that are at the top? I've learned that the best ideas come from the people who are actually the ones with their feet on the ground. The best ideas can come from the teachers themselves, from the schools themselves. You tell us, what will it take to make you want to stay here? What will it take to make you want to return? And then give us the opportunity to work towards that. Ideas and plans. We look to you for help. Thank you.
Let me repeat my question. What ideas, plans can we put in place to obtain certified teachers and keep their retention rate high?
Well, I was told a long time when I first started working that the most important person in a school building is the custodian. Because the custodian knows everything that's going on. And the next most important person are your teachers. If your custodian is happy, he will keep your teachers happy as well. And he will also let you know when teachers are not happy, as well as parents. So what ideas can we put in place, and what plans can we make? Mama just talked about the teacher cadet program. I don't know if we still have it in the county or not, but I know once we did. And I also know that you can use Title II funds to provide scholarships for those students. Once they go to college, their second year, the district could use Title II funds to assist them with their tuition. And by doing that, you will allow them the opportunity to spend less money in college. But put a little caveat in there and tell them you have to come back and teach for at least 2 years. And then you can tell them that you come back for 2 years, you can stay with your parents for a while anyway. But there are ways. But one thing is really important, and it's no joke. If your teachers are not happy, they will leave. You definitely must have administrators who understand that the teacher is more important than they are. They really are. The teachers are. So you need to make sure that our teachers are happy. And we've had a mass exodus of teachers over the past couple of years. And the reason for that is because, it's just my opinion, the lack of stability in a county. If your county is not stable, no one's going to come to work here because they will feel that as soon as I say or do or something happens, or when the next administrator comes in, I'm out the door. Thank you.
There continues to be rumors around the closing of Hemingway High School. Can any candidate authenticate this, and if so, what would be your message to the citizens of this community? We will begin with is there anyone that wishes to respond to this? I'm sure you have your answer now. Do you plan to serve the 4-year term if elected, or are you wanting to run for another seat in 2 years? I'll repeat that. Do you plan to serve the 4-year term if elected, or are you wanting to run for another seat in 2 years? I will begin with Dr. Kenneth Burgess.
Yeah, as I look at this seat, it's very important because this is a seat that's very important because it's countywide. A lot of folks don't know that it's a large situation, but it's countywide. That's why I'm running for it. Because I believe in serving all the children. I'm all about, if I'm elected in this position, I will serve the 4-year term. That's what I'm here for. I love children. I'm not running just to be running and run for another seat in 2 years. No, by no means. I'm here for the children. If we had more people would carry out their terms and do what they're supposed to do, then this place would be a better place. So I want you to know, no, I'm not just running to be running. I'm running because I'm here for the children. I've been educated for over 20 years in the classroom, administrated for over 15 years. So I'm running because the kids need someone who understands education. I understand education. Of course, I'm a former Army officer. I'm a former municipal judge. But what we're talking about tonight is education. Something is dear to my heart. So no, I will not be running just to be running 2 years from now for another seat. I'm running because it's needed. I have the skill set, I have the education, I have the experience to know what children need. I understand parents. I understand the community, because this is my community. And I understand where we need to take our vision to as we look towards the future in Williamsburg County. We need all stakeholders. You know, it's not just about this forum tonight. I appreciate that Delta's having this forum, but we need forums like this all across the county. If I'm on the school board, it's not just about Greeleyville, it's not about Hemingway, it's not about Kingstree, it's about the whole county. And that's why I'm running for this seat. Thank you.
Do you plan to serve the 4-year term if elected, or are you running to run for another seat in 2 years? Attorney Cesar McKnight.
If I'm elected, I plan on doing the whole 4 years. Thank you.
2 minutes or less. Thank you. Do you plan to serve the 4-year term if elected, or are you running to run for another seat in 2 years? Ms. Janice Gamble. Mrs. Janice Gamble.
Yes, I plan to run for another seat, which would be School District 4 Board, in another 4 years if the parents decide to want me back. I'll run it for a reason. We've all said that reason over and over again tonight. I love children. My passion is children. And I plan to do my very best, not only for District 4 children, but for all the children. Thank you.
Okay, I guess that question should only be for that large. Okay. Somebody might plan to change. Do you plan to serve the 4-year term if elected, or are you running to run for another seat in 2 years? Ms. Marva King.
Yes, I plan to serve the entire 4 years when I am elected on November 8th for District 5.
Thank you. Do you plan to serve the 4-year term if elected, or are you running for another seat in 2 years? Mr. Haywood Baker.
Well, I'm a write-in, so yeah, I'm gonna be here 4 years in this position if someone's kind enough, folks are kind enough to write me in. But the good thing about this county is that, you know, we're small enough that people can wear several hats. Okay, I still plan to be on the board of the zoning appeals, board of trustees for the school board, have a job, and possibly, maybe in 2 years, run for mayor. I don't know, someone has asked me about that, but, you know, I may or may not. But anyway, I think I wear more than one hat and get the job done. And so, but as far as being on the school board, yes ma'am, yes everybody, I will be here for the 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question. How do you feel about children going to school year-round? We will begin with Attorney Cesar McKnight.
I think it would be a good idea for kids to go year-round. Number one, it prevents the summer slump. I don't know if you guys remember, but I remember getting back to school in August and I would have to whisper in a friend's ear, like, how you write a T or an I, because I forgot. But I think it would be a good idea, especially with the fact that we have such, and I hate to say it, we just have such poor test scores that we have. I think we only, was it 5% of our children are reading at grade level? So they need that extra time. And I'll tell you this too, school is a safe place for a lot of our children. And it's where a lot of them get to eat. We take for granted that fact, but that's 2 guaranteed meals for a child. And in the summertime, they may not have that. And as we learned during COVID, we saw kids who were in abusive homes who were there all the time, where school provided them an escape. So I think it's a good idea. Other places have done it, and I'd be interested in seeing how we can implement it so that we could help our children. Yes, summer's big. I think we could have extended, like, week-long vacation blocks throughout the seasons, but I think it would be a good idea, and I would be a proponent of it if I could see the numbers and it shows us that we have a chance to have improved academic scores. Yes.
How do you feel about children going to school year-round? Ms. Janice Gamble.
I think that students as well as parents should have the opportunity to send their children to school year-round. But I also feel that if we were going to implement that we would really need to know how the community feels about that process. Because as a board, we can say school year-round, but if the parents are not for that, then it won't be a success. Or we can either do a hybrid model, whereas some students go year-round for whatever reason, and others do not. Because I know we have Williamsburg Technical College right here. You have students who, at the high school level, especially they're from 12th graders, during the summertime, they use that time to obtain college credit. So I think that it's a good idea for Williamsburg County, but it needs to be implemented correctly, and I think the choice should be made as well, as to whether or not we're going to do the hybrid level, or say everyone goes to school year round. I don't know. Thank you.
How do you feel about children going to school year-round? Mrs. Mulcahy.
I would be a proponent of year-round school. It's, our surrounding counties are currently doing that. And I think Florence won. Darlington County, they just got off of what they call fall break, where the kids come to school, I don't know the exact numbers, maybe 6 or 8 weeks, and then they're off for a week. So it's good for the students, and it's also good for the teachers. The teachers love it. Our children, because of the COVID time, have lost pretty much 2 years. And now they have this term, they call it lost learning. This might be a way to regain some of that lost learning because you're there with 1 week off, and it kind of gives you a break. I remember being in school when I was working, and I'm not ashamed to say because I know teachers still do it. You know, you start school the first day, the first thing you look at is when is Thanksgiving break. And then when it's Christmas break, then after Christmas break, you just get really tired before you get to your Easter break. So I think it gives you a chance to just take a breath, refresh yourself, and then just come back ready. Not just teachers, but administrators and students. And then it gives the school an opportunity if those things that need to be repaired or cleaned or redone. I would be a proponent. We'd have to look at the stats because our neighboring districts just started it, but it might be a good thing. But I would certainly go for it if the numbers are positive. Thank you.
How do you feel about children going to school year-round? Ms. Hayward-Baker.
I agree with everything they've said. And as a matter of fact, you know, the alternative school year has worked in several counties within the state. And I'm sure a lot's going on with that in other parts of the country. Actually, the parents like it because, you know, they can take vacations at parts of the year when it's not so expensive. You know, rates all go up during the summertime, but they go down in the fall and winter months. They can take vacations then. And so to kind of spread all this out, I think it's a great idea. And it prevents the regression that they were referencing. You know, the 3 months during the summer, I mean, a lot of kids forget what they learn, you know, in the spring. So, I mean, this will help with that tremendously. And so I'm for it. I think it's worth a try. I think we ought to, you know, maybe take a couple of years and introduce it and start talking to the citizens about it and the parents about it and see how they feel. I'm not sure how the daycare folks are going to feel about it, but anyway, I think it'd be better for the kids all around. Thank you.
How do you feel about children going to school year-round? Kenneth Burgess.
Yes, it's not about how I feel at the end of the day. It's about how the community feels. I'm here, this is your seat, not my seat. So I feel that anything that we implement as a board, you know, I would do surveys of the community, have community forums, get input from the community before I implement anything. Sure, it might be a good idea, but we want to make sure that all our stakeholders have input in what we're doing in every entity or whatever we're doing for the school district of Williamsburg County. So I think it's very important. I can think that, you know, it's a good idea. Data from other counties, I think we need to do the homework and make sure that we follow suit because a lot of counties, we're in the center of a lot of counties. We have Berkeley County to our south, Florence County to our north, Georgetown County to our east, and Clarendon County to our west. So we need to make sure, and a lot of families intertwine. So what we do in Williamsburg County do affect other counties, but I would start with surveying of our communities, going out in the community, not just making a decision with the board, because that's not how I want to go. I want to make sure that we inform parents. And it don't have to be something right away. It can be a year from now. You know, people come up with a lot of good ideas, but at the end of the day, they don't inform the people. This is the people's seat, and that's how I would carry it out as the people's seat and respect them and honor them because I'm just one person, and then we can go from there. Thank you.
Thank you. Tidbit, for those of you who went to Battery Park or Beulah Woods back in the day, y'all know that Cleo Spates made me a year-round student. Okay. What is the biggest challenge facing the school district today? This is Janice.
I think the biggest challenge facing us today is the teacher shortage. And that's facing the state as well as a good part of the nation. the teachers' shortage, you have teachers in the classroom, students can't learn. And if we don't find a way to recruit teachers and to retain them, then we will not be successful in this school district the way we need to be, the way that I know that we can be. So I think that's the biggest challenge, teaching shortages. The biggest challenge, teaching shortages.
What is the biggest challenge facing the school district today? Ms. Martha King. Ms. Martha.
The biggest challenge facing the school district today is the same challenge it was facing the school district 50 years ago. Why can't Johnny read? I don't know why Johnny can't read, but I do think it goes back to programming and the way that we teach. The curriculum, we are one district. So if we can figure out, because we do have some Johnnies that read very well, so we can figure out what teacher A is doing, what approach she is using to make Johnny read, why can't we take that teacher and train, have that train a trainer or teach someone else, so we don't have to have 5 different programs to teach Johnny to read because we have 5 elementary schools. If it's working, why can't we just take that program that we know that's working and then bring it over to this grade or to that school? It's all about the instruction, the instructional level, and that's whether that teacher in that classroom is certified, because I believe you can take a certified teacher who knows what she's doing and give her 2 good assistants, and they can implement her strategy, and we can teach Johnny to read. I've seen it happen. We have to provide support all across the school. Whether when Johnny's in the classroom, that's what Johnny's doing. When he goes to the library, Johnny has that same thing going on. Johnny has an older kid assigned to him that's also working with Johnny. Johnny can play for 5 minutes, but maybe somebody's on the playground with Johnny also, and they're pointing out and teaching and showing and labeling things. But that's what I think is the biggest challenge. Why can't Johnny read?
What is the biggest challenge facing the school district today? Mr. Hayward Baker.
Well, I agree with the teacher shortage, but I think the major challenge is going to be reversing the exodus from this county and the school system, public school system. We got to reverse that and create incentives and create a program, create a school district, school system that people want to come back here and live. They want to come back here and live, have their kids educated here, they want to work here, raise their families here. And we're seeing some of that now to a small degree, but it's nowhere close to where it needs to be. I mean, we really have to do that because, like we're saying, with 50 years, we've lost so much. We've lost so much in education. So many of our kids aren't working at the grade level. We've lost revenue. We've lost a lot of things. A place to go out and eat, a movie we can go and watch, at a theater somewhere. A hotel where our guests that come from out of town can stay. I mean, there's so much that we need to have in this county. And really it starts with the school system. And without the school system operating, educating and, raising and teaching kids that end up being our leaders in the community who want to come back here and work and raise their kids, until we start reversing what's happened in the past, are we really going to correct anything? So that to me is the major challenge, is creating an environment across the entire county where folks want to come here and live, raise their families, and go back, to where it used to be, where we had a bustling town, no missing teeth downtown as far as missing storefronts. Folks were there shopping there, they wouldn't be going out of town to do their business. They'll stay right here.
What is the biggest challenge challenge facing the school district today? Attorney Caesar McKnight.
I agree with Mrs. Gamble when she said that our biggest challenge is the teacher shortage. While I was in the legislature, I tried to deal with that issue. Right before COVID, we were debating the new education bill, and I had put into that bill a provision that will allow for a person who comes to a Title IV county like Williamsburg to be tax exempt from the state income tax for their first 5 years when they begin teaching. Got that into the legislation, and then we had Senator Mike Fanning filibuster, and COVID struck, so we weren't able to do that. But it's those kinds of things that we can try to get done to combat that teacher shortage. Right now, a lot of our teachers have to come from abroad. They're from India, they're from Jamaica, fine people, love them all, but I think we need some more people who are from here, who are products of the community, who can better identify with our children and with their circumstances. But the major thing is teacher shortage. And let's be realistic, people are looking, their number one bottom line is their pocket. They want to make as much money as they can. And so being a teacher, I had someone tell me that they wanted to make as much as a lawyer and a doctor make. I said, well, maybe being a teacher is not going to be the thing for you. But we've still got to pay them because they want a decent quality of life. They want to be able to save for their future. They want to be able to provide for their children. And that's how and the way we do that is with better pay. But to combat the teacher shortage, that's the number one thing, because I know several teachers, wonderful teachers, who live here in Williamsburg County, but they work someplace else. They work in Berkeley, they work in Florence, they work in Georgetown. And you know, I say to them, come back, and then they say, well, you want me to take a pay cut? And then I kind of just have to put my head and I say, no. But I understand that, but we definitely need a fresh batch of new teachers, and that's just an issue that's haunting the entire country, whether it be here in South Carolina, California, New York, Texas, and places in between. It's just there's a dearth of teachers. People aren't becoming educators anymore, and that's because they're picking other fields that provide them more money. So that's our biggest issue.
What is the biggest challenge facing the school district today? Dr. Kenneth Burgess.
Yes, I feel like a lot of my panel folks here today, but for me, and coming out of the classroom, being an administrator, school safety. We're living in a time now where people are scared to death. We can't get nothing done if we don't have safety, a safe environment that's conducive to them. So I look at things a little different. All the school shootings across America, you can have the best teacher in the world. They're not going to want to teach. They're looking out windows, trying to wonder whether someone got a gun or whether the kid going to get shot up. So for me, school safety is very important. I feel that that's one of the number things we need to look at. Number one thing that we need to look at, because without the environment, there's no education going to be taking place. We live in an era now where we got cell phones. We got computers. We didn't have those things back there 50 years ago. So kids who don't come to school, when I was a truancy officer, I ride through this county, see kids playing. See kids on the computer at home. I don't know what they were thinking about, but it wasn't nothing about education. Right in here today. You know, we don't know the next 10 or 15 minutes. Sure, we got security. But I look at things where we have to do the grassroots things. School safety is very important. It's happening all across America, where nobody knows what Johnny is doing in their room or upstairs, and they get on a bus. So we have to put in place things that will help us to be more safe, whether it's at the bus stop, you know, fights happen at the bus stop, fights happen at the classroom. So at the end of the day, I feel that school safety is very important, because without the safety of our folks, if the bus driver too scared to drive, if the teacher too scared to teach, and the principal won't come, then we don't have no learning. No learning is going to take place. Thank you.
Thank you. And after 6 questions, we're going to take a brief intermission. You have 2 minutes to stretch your legs, bathroom break, or whatever you must do. But the chime won't come on into the county school board. If so, what role will the elected board members play in the process of governing? We will begin with Mrs. Marva King.
Okay. The exact date, we do not know. Our role is, and I really implore you all, to elect a board that is functional, that can work together. Collaboration is important. 9 people, 9 opinions, but we have to make the best decisions for the county, the best decisions for the students, and it might not be the most popular decision. But at the end of the day, we can take our 9 opinions and then come together and we can accept the differences. But when we regain control, we want to implement the new policies. Let me tell y'all, we have new policies in place in Williamsburg County. As we were working through policies, they were not updated. Some of them were as old as 1993. Let me tell you that today you all have policies that are current with local, state, and federal laws. If you could give us a board with the most qualifying abilities, we can continue to move forward. We can let learning happen. We can let progress happen. We can let magic happen right here in Williamsburg County. And I look forward to us doing that. And I hope that you can jump on this. Because I'm going to tell y'all, I don't know if y'all feel it or not, but it is an atmospheric shift in the education in Williamsburg County. And I want y'all to get on board and ride this wave with us.
Does any other candidate wish to address this question?
I don't know the exact date I'm on the board, but the purpose of a school board member is not to micromanage the classrooms. It is not to micromanage principals. It is not to, and I know as parents, you go to your school board members, you ask them questions, and you want things to be brought forth to the superintendent. My child was put out of school. Well, here's a parent whose child was put out of school as well. But there are procedures and protocols and steps. So the school board member's responsibility in that case would be to make sure the parents know what to do, who to go to, and how to get the solution to whatever problem they have. The purpose of a school board member, or any board member, is to ensure that the resources are there to help the county, the district, to be able to move forward and to provide a quality education for all of our children. The school board member is supposed to implement those policies and procedures that Ms. Cannon just talked about, and we have one person to hire and fire, and that is the superintendent. We're supposed to give the superintendent what he needs, and after a period of time, a school board member is responsible for looking at the data, the results from our tests, looking at our discipline data, whatever data that's going to help our school district get better. Evaluating that, evaluating the superintendent. If he needs help in getting things done, provide those resources for him. If he wishes to go, or she, now I'm not saying, please don't think I'm saying fire the superintendent. No, give him or her whatever he or she needs, those resources. And if there are no changes, based on the data, not whether I like you or I don't like you, if there are no changes, then he will have to find employment elsewhere. That's the purpose of the school board.
It's very important for school board members to understand their roles. It's all about excellence, creating excellence for our children. So we need school board members who understand policy and procedure. We need school board members who try to make sure that kids get to the next level where they need to be. I'm all for that. Yes, we have our differences on school boards, but at the end of the day, we should all come together for the betterment of the children. I'm running for this office to get on the school board to make sure excellence is in our school district. Nothing else. I'm running because I want to run. Nobody had me running. I'm running at large. Sure, I could have waited and run for the district, but the time came and I'm running because I love children again. I want this district to be good. I can work with anyone. Sure, we're gonna have disagreements, but at the end of the day, school board members should be able to work collaboratively together to make sure that we have excellence in our students. In order to do that, like I said before, you have to show value. You have to show value to everyone, from the bus driver to the superintendent. I don't have a problem relieving superintendents neither, if it's for the best interest of children. But I'm not on the board to get rid of nobody. I'm just here to try to be that engine in the small of a big engine, trying to make sure that we have excellence across Williamsburg County. That's why I'm running countywide at large. Thank you.
I believe that we'll get our authority back from the state when we can demonstrate that we can work together to solve problems, okay? And we know what the problems are. We've talked about them a lot here tonight. So be sure and vote or write in the person that you believe is going to be an effective collaborator with other board members and are focused on the jobs to be done. Because like they said, our only job is to hire that superintendent. And we establish the policy and the procedures and processes by which the district will operate and the schools operate. Running the schools is the principal's job, okay? We don't want to get involved in that. So we're at a higher level, and that's where we need to stay. And you really should write in or vote the person who is used to operating at that higher level, okay? So just be careful who you select to do these jobs. It's just too important for just anybody to take those seats. Thank you.
Very briefly, from my understanding, I think that we likely may have control. When I say we, I mean the school board. We likely may have control back by the first of the year. And that being said, the school board will be fully empowered to be able to do what it is that the school board should do, which is enact policies and procedures for their faculty, staff, and their administrators to follow. What we don't want is what we've had in the past, which is basically a revolving door of superintendents. At one time, we were paying 3 superintendents at one time. No, we need to choose well. We need to move deliberatively, not knee-jerk, and we need to think about what it is we're going to do. I was just having a conversation with Ms. Canyon prior to us coming up, and I said, look, we need a vision. We need a 2-year vision, a 5-year vision, and a 10-year vision for the district, so that we don't repeat the mistakes that we've done before. We've got, when I pledged capital, we had what we call the 7 Ps. Proper prior planning prevents poor performance. There's a P I'm not gonna say here, but the point is, we've got a plan, and we've got to prepare for that. And the way we do that is sit down, look at what it is we have, the trends that are, we can look at our census data and know where we are, and we'll know what population we have, and we'll know how better to serve that. And the school board there is not to micromanage the superintendent of education. He runs the day-to-day business of the school district. We are there for policy, not to micromanage, not to bully, not to ingratiate ourselves. We're there to enact policies and procedures for the district. Thank you.
Thank you. How principal in Williamsburg County Schools. I'm reading what was written. How do you see the role of the school principal in Williamsburg County Schools? Question number 8, beginning with District 6, Haywood Baker.
Thank you for
I'm
that.
going in order, so y'all don't say I'm being biased. Thank you so kind.
Well, the principal's job is to be the leader in the school, the disciplinarian in the school. He addresses the needs of the kids on a day-to-day basis. What happens in the cafeteria, what happens on the schoolyard. That's the principal's responsibility, all right? He keeps order within the school, makes sure, the teachers are safe and have a safe environment in the school. So basically his job surrounds, that basic school, grounds is his responsibility. Beyond that, he works with the superintendent. The superintendent is, his or her boss. And so largely his responsibility is to make sure that school is operating as it should, has a good environment for learning, and is a comfortable place to be during the day for all involved. Thank you.
If anyone would care to add, to that, please feel free to. And remember, 2 minutes or less.
Yes, as the principal, the visionary leader of the school, safe environment for our students. That's where the rubber hit the road. He or she should have a safe environment, like I said before, but at the same time, be a visionary leader. Because at the end of the day, we want student achievement to go up. The principal is the change agent at the school. Being a former assistant principal myself, I had plenty of days to take the role of the principal. So I understand that, and it goes back to what I said before, and I'll say it again, adding value to people that work under you. Whether it's the bus driver getting the kids to school on time, whether it's that assistant in that class helping that teacher, whether it's the teacher itself. Whether it's, you got clean schools, the custodian, the cafeteria workers. I've seen it all. Any one of those change agents can cause problems at the school. Rumors at the school, anything can get out. The principal, he or she job, he or she, it makes no difference. They are the leader of the school. And we must understand that and let them run their schools. It's not my job as a board member to micromanage the school. That's why we hire superintendent, to hire competent principals to run the school. That's why we hold people accountable. If I'm on the board, elected to the board, I want to be held accountable. At the end of the day, every stakeholder should be held accountable. Every stakeholder, including the school board. Because it's not about us just making policy. It's not about the superintendent carrying them out. It's about everybody working together for the betterment of children's interests. And that interest is academic success. Thank you.
A principal's job is to create an atmosphere of excellence. That means he or she may have to leave the four walls of that school and go out into the community. You may have to attend church services. You have to work with the parents, the families, the ministers, the storekeeper, everyone in that community, if you want them to see your vision. A lot of folks will never come to the school, but they'll come to the school, how they know what that vision of excellence looks like. So a principal's job is to support teachers, make sure they have what they need. They may need a little bit of coaching, is to help students along the way. Some students who come to your office in the morning time, they're hungry. So give them a pack of nails out of your office. That's what I did. You keep those things on hand. If you know your community, If you have gone to gatherings they have had, weddings, church services, back to school programs, if you know your community, you can get them on board with you. And if they're on board, and we all on the same train rolling, we will roll around to success. That's how principals are supposed to be.
Anyone else?
Principals are transformative figures in a community. Just look around the history of Williamsburg County and you see the marks of wonderful principals like a W.M. Anderson or a C. Murray or my great uncle Prof. Lawrence. And to this day, even though those gentlemen have passed on many years ago, what they've done echoes into the future because you talk to people and the little tidbits of wisdom that they got are something that takes along. I think about the first principal I ever had, which was Kenneth Gardner, whom I had a report card with all A's and a B, and I got chastised for the B. Why you got a B? But he saw something in me and he kept pushing me. And it is those people, especially in a community like this, that can impact the lives of everyone. I think anybody in here can quote something that they've heard Dr. Murray say, or you can think about the times that your principal brought you on the carpet and told you something. I can think about the times that Wallace Bartell dragged me in his office and almost choked me and said, boy, you better stop acting like that. You need to do your schoolwork. So what I would like to see is what we've always seen from our principals in this area, and that's excellence. And I think we can have that, and they're going to be fine men and women who come out of school that can be principals. And for a lot of our children who don't have fathers, they tend to be a father figure. And for those who don't have absent mothers, they tend to be mothers. So I view them as transformative. And I find that attitude reflects leadership. And where you see kids with a good attitude, they often, almost always have an excellent principal in their schools.
I ditto everything that has been said. Each person have defined very effectively what a good principal should look like. They do set the tone, the culture, and the climate of the school. The only thing I will add is that currently in Williamsburg County, we are doing focused leadership. And what that means is that we are giving authority back to the principals to run their school. The district office is understanding that they are there to support the principal. When the principal says, look, I need 20 chairs in this room because I'm expecting 20 kids, the district office is not there to say, oh no, you only need 10. They are there to support the principals, the curriculum, in whatever way they can. And that's where we are currently. So that is the only thing that I will add, how we are supporting everything that everyone has said that principals are doing or should be doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question. How would you, as a board member, advocate for our disabled population of students and ensure that the funding that support their needs are dispersed wisely and useful? How would you, as a board member, advocate for our disabled population of students and ensure that the funding that support their needs are dispersed wisely and useful? We will begin with Dr. Kingstree-Lake.
Thank you. Well, with any population like a disability, money is already allocated from the state and national, comes down from the state of education. So it's very important that we have principals and the people at the district level who understand that special population of folks. It's very important that we hire folks who know to allocate those funds for those folks when the money comes down. Oftentimes, money comes down for certain things and it don't get allocated and it don't go to the people. It's just like sending supplies overseas. It never gets there. Somebody ambush it. Or so you have some road principal or somebody road at the district office who decide, well, we're gonna buy 2 new buses, athletic buses. Those things shouldn't happen. So it's very important that when money is allocated from the State Department of Education, as it comes down, we got good, competent people who we hire as administrators at the district office, gonna make sure that the money gets where it's supposed to be for those children, so those needs are being met. As a board member, we wanna make sure we got policy to support that. So as we implement policy for our children, it's very important that we know that the policy is gonna take care of all the children across the county, not just one population of children. But that would be included in our policy and procedure. And I heard earlier that they're being implemented because when I was over Director of Human Resource, I noticed there was some old policies that needed to be changed also. So it's all about having a board in place who understand policy and understand not just implementing policy because it's popular. You look at your children, see what the need base is, and then you go from there. And that's how you develop good policy for folks who need that. Because if you look at your population, then you'll know what to allocate and what to provide for the students. Thank you.
One of the primary functions of the school board is to be good stewards with the community's money. So what that requires from us, I believe, is the proper oversight of the people who are in charge of allocating those funds to the various students with special needs. Just because someone's special needs doesn't mean they can't perform, doesn't mean they can't go out and do and become viable parts of the community. They just need a little extra attention than the other kids. Different doesn't mean bad, different just means different. So you don't love everybody the same, so you don't love your special needs children the same. So what I think we should do is make certain that we have good, competent people who are in charge of those funds, and we need to regularly look over their shoulders and see, are those monies going to where they need? Because we've got to make sure we're doing our IEPs for our special needs students, making sure that they're getting the resources that they need. That those funds are federal funds, and they come with some really tough strings attached to them that if you don't do, you're going to end up incurring the wrath of the federal government. So I think that the first thing for us to do is to make sure we've got competent people in place, supervise them and make sure they're doing what they're doing, and make the necessary adjustments as we discover we need to make adjustments.
How would you, as a board member, advocate for our, and I'm going to change it to special needs population of students, and ensure that the funding that supports their needs are dispersed wisely and useful?
As a board member, I know that all funds, once they come to the district, should go into your budget. So if we have special needs funds, which are federal funds, when we receive our board budget books, let's do that, Ms. Ken, board budget books.
The state's in charge, so we don't get a
Well,
budget.
we should receive the budget recommendation from through the superintendent's office. Looking at that budget and looking at the number of special ed students that we have in place, then we should know where those funds should be allocated to what schools and how much funds those schools should receive, because different diagnosis when it comes down to special ed will require a different amount of money. An LD student may receive a little less funding than a student who is severely handicapped in some form or fashion. The law says that we must provide for all students a free and appropriate education. That's what we call faith. And when you begin to deny children the things that they need by sending those funds to other programs or not doing what you're supposed to do with those funds, then the state decides that it will come to your district. Because if one school district in this state misappropriate funds, then the feds are going to hold funds from all the school districts. All the school districts. So therefore, the state will come to your district in order to try to help you get it right. I believe that all children can learn with the correct resources and the amount of time. You know, some people say kids can't learn this job. No. All children can learn with the right resources and the amount of time.
Thank you. Mrs. Martha King?
When it comes to students with disabilities, the monies are weighted based on the disability of the child. And the state sends to the district exactly, what's important is the way we count our students. It's very important. If you have 250 speech kids and they go in as 250 speech kids, or 30 LD kids, or 30 EMD kids, that's the money that the state sends. Now, the board really does not have anything to do with that because the state has already assigned those monies. In special education, you have to meet what is called maintenance of effort. And I can speak from what I've learned since I've been on this board. In the area of special education, there are always issues in every district. Every district has 2 or 3 issues. Williamsburg County had over 60 in the areas of special education because of, and wasn't mismanagement, it was poor bookkeeping, not understanding the laws. And because we didn't understand, well, I won't say we, I wasn't on the board then, because, well, the district did not understand the maintenance of effort, Williamsburg County had to send back $300,000 to the federal government. So it is very important that we oversee and make sure we have people in place that are accurately labeling the students so that we're getting the right amount of monies, and then we have to meet maintenance of effort. It just means you have to spend $1 more. You just have to know what you're doing. And so as a board, we can advocate for our children by ensuring that we have a superintendent who will have the right people in place and people who know their jobs and will do their jobs. That's another big issue. You got the job, do the job. Thank you.
Mr. Hayward?
Well, I'm an advocate for special needs children. I work with them, I love them, and they are very special people. And some, like I said before, are highly functioning, others are not. Part of my responsibility in government was financial oversight. And I dealt with budgets that were in, hundreds of millions of dollars, okay? So I'm used to dealing with the problems associated with financial management. And as Ms. Canyon was saying, you gotta follow those procedures, you gotta do the right accounting, you gotta have the right people that know what they're doing, that understand the laws and the programs, okay? But you also have to hold people accountable for the mistakes they make. And what has happened here in the past was really malfeasance in a lot of ways. And I think that, sometimes the auditors need to be audited, because oftentimes they don't quite get it. But, as far as the board member's job is concerned, we just have to make sure the right people are in place under the superintendent to make sure they're fully trained and educated to, understand how the programs work, how the money should be allocated, and then make sure people are held accountable. And as an advocate for special needs, I do have concerns about the services they receive. In a lot of cases, I believe it's not quite enough. And I think that that's part of a money problem. It's part of a special ed teacher problem. But largely, I think that's something we need to look closely at to make sure that every child with a special need or learning disability in this county, whether they come from outside any organization, they're here for us to serve. We need to make sure they are properly served and they have a chance to succeed as well as anyone else, if they can. Thank you.
I now have some questions that are specific to candidates. Mr. Baker, you may as well stand. I should have asked you to remain standing. As a sitting member, why are you running as a write-in candidate?
Well, that's a good question, and it deserves an answer. Quite frankly, I wasn't sure what I was going to do, okay? I was a little disappointed in some of the functioning of the board, that we've had here already. I began to question whether or not, I want to be a part of that. Well, things seem to turn around, okay? Those issues hopefully have gone away, not to raise their heads again, but I don't want to work with folks that can't work together. I don't want to work with people that are going to fight and argue with each other, okay? This is not how you get things done. And so if we can't work together to achieve success for our district, for the people of Williamsburg County, then I don't want to be a part of that. All right, once they can demonstrate that we can work together and do the job that needs to be done, I'm all in. So I have hope that things will be better. And I hope I have the chance again to serve another 4 years to help the district, everyone, all the counties, all the schools perform as well as they can. So I hope that addresses that issue as far as, being the write-in. And, when I finally decided, yes, I want to go forward with the 4 years again, it was a little bit too late to get my petition together. I even had it all printed out, everything, had my grandniece make signs, but, anyway, I'm here. Please write me in. I want another 4 years. Thank you.
Dr. Burgess, you are a retired educator. What do you feel will be your greatest asset on this board? Are you your own person or will you be easily led? I believe I'm reading this correct.
First of all, yes, I gave 35 years to this county. And no, I'm a retired educator. You're right. My wife passed last year. She gave 30 years in education here, Williamsburg County, kindergarten teacher. So I decided to retire after her death. But then I started thinking about, how can I give back? This is one way I can give back. So far as being a man of distinction and being a man of honor, serving my country, I take care of my 91-year-old father, who gave over 37 years here, and my mother. So, like I said before, this county is my county. I feel that I'm here to make a difference for kids who are less fortunate than I am. Yes, I got an ROTC scholarship to take me through college, but we need people on the board who understand, who gonna stand in the gap for those students who don't have parents who are educators, who don't have parents who understand how the educational wheel works. No, I'm independent. I'm my own man. I'm here to make a difference in the school district of Williamsburg County to make it better. Sure, I can ride off in the sunset just like a lot of our other folks up here can ride off in the sunset, but this is my county. Not only education, but as I gave my time with the National Guard for over 12 years, I feel this is something I can do to help the kids who are less fortunate than I am. And at the end of the day, we want to make sure that we show transparency on the school board. Sure, we can disagree. There's nothing wrong with disagreeing. We all are different. I knew folks who went to Desert Storm and Desert Shield. We fought, for this country. But at the end of the day, we had a common ground. And that's what I'm about, being on the school board to make sure that we work together with our differences to get a common goal for our children. Thank you.
Dr. Gamble, You have served on the upper tier of our school district. What do you believe is the greatest need of our school district, and how can you help as a board member?
Oh, yes, I serve as the assistant superintendent. I also serve as the math and science coordinator for the district as well. What I feel is the greatest need, is that the question? The greatest need for our school district?
And how can you help as a board member?
And how can I help as a board member? Well, I said earlier, I felt that teaching, our teachers shortage was the greatest need, but I also feel that our community, our parents in the community, I think that we have to get our community to have faith in us again. We have alienated many of our constituents, students. Some have gone to other school districts. We've lost them, and by losing students, we're losing money as well. But I think that working together, we can and we will come back to where we were at one point in time in this county. Our teacher shortage, as well as the way the community feel about us. They don't trust us the way they used to trust us. I think that those two things need to be looked at. And as a board member, I can do what I can do in the community. I can be transparent with what the decisions we make as a board. And I think that all the board meetings are now live streamed, right? And that's a good thing as well. And talking to the people in the area and showing that we are that which is right for our students, I think that we will continue to move forward.
Our last and bonus question of the evening. Bonus. Yeah, for 1,000 Alex. What is the best way to address differences of opinion on the board or between board and administration? And we will begin with Marva King.
Want to say again the question? The best way to discuss.
What is the best way to address differences of opinion on the board or between board and the administration?
Well, one of the things with board questions, or what might appear to be disagreements, the board is bound by something called FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, which pretty much means that before each board meeting, we have to do an agenda. It has to be publicized, it has to be given to the media, and it's posted on the district website and also on the doors. Once that has been accepted, questions come up. But if we have not notified the public that that's an issue the board is going to be discussed, really we're not supposed to discuss it. And that's why amendments to the agenda is frowned upon. So sometimes what might appear to be a disagreement might be simply, we didn't notify the public, you didn't have an opportunity to come and be a part of that, so we can't discuss it. So sometimes not understanding the rules of the board, it might appear that it's a conflict, but it's really a matter of following the correct procedure. If there are disagreements, again, they will come because we are 9 different people. And in any group that will happen. But we can also accept that we disagree. And we can disagree without being disagreeable. And so that's how you handle disagreements on the board or disagreements with administration. It's something you sit down and talk about, not yell about. And so in order for me, I need to listen to understand
before I speak to be understood.
Mr. Hayward Baker?
Well, like Ms. Canyon said, you know, we're 9 different people, we'll have differences of opinion, and there's nothing wrong with expressing your opinion. And we also have what's called a decorum. We need to have a proper decorum in any board meeting, which means that it should be held under control in a polite manner. You know, respect is given to each individual, whether whoever's speaking, and whether there's a member of the public or a board member. You know, we have to respect each other and not be rude to each other or, you know, accuse people of things or whatever. So in regards to handling disagreements, you know, we make decisions by voting. And once we express our opinion, and if we have a motion up for a decision, then we can vote on it, okay? And once it's voted on and, you know, it's enacted, then everyone needs to be on board, even those that disagreed, okay? We can't have someone, after a decision is made, to go out in the public and try to undermine that decision. All right, this is not how we work together. This is not how we accomplish things, okay? Because we don't want to divide the community over an issue. We need the community support, okay? If we're going to do a good job. So we have to act together. We can disagree, we can have differences of opinion, but at the end of the day, when that decision is made, everyone has to be behind it 100%. No dissenters, okay? Thank you.
Attorney Caesar McKnight?
Could you give me that question one more time?
What is the best way to address differences of opinion on the board or between the board and the administration?
Respect, plain and simple. Coming to the table with people, listening to what they have to say, and not just listening so you can respond, but you need to listen to understand. And I think that if you afford people the requisite amount of respect, it'll be returned to you. I understand we're not always going to agree. Don't plan on agreeing with you all the time, but we can disagree, not be disagreeable, and just understand it's not about winning and losing. You're not going to win every time. It's not about getting your way all the time. And I think too that we have to be careful on the board that what we present in public speaks for us. So if we're on Facebook and we're yelling and screaming and just acting all out, that attitude permeates. It's infectious. And likewise, if they see us on there taking care of business, they'll begin to trust us again. But it's too late in the day and there's too much at risk for the online shenanigans and talking over each other or whatever. We've got Robert Rules of Order for a reason at a board meeting. We need to follow them, be respectful of the chairman or chairwoman, pardon me, and deal with things accordingly. And that's what we need. We're adults and we need to act the part. So I think respect's the key.
Dr. Kenneth Burgess?
Yes, in any situation, you got to be able to communicate. And I believe in following rules and protocol. At the same time, like you said, you're going to have differences. That's how you carry yourself. We're representing children who want to get an education. And one thing about educating children is letting them know that there's always going to be rules and regulations. Not only just with them, but for our school board as a whole. It's very important to work together. I believe in working together. But at the end of the day, it's about children first. That's why we're here, children first. We want to make sure that that is understood across the county. It's not the Kingstree first. It's not the Williamsburg first. It's not the Hemingway first. It's Williamsburg County School District, children's first. So I believe that communication, if we can communicate effectively, then we can get a lot of things done. We're going to have differences. Sure, we're going to have differences. But, like I heard someone say earlier, you got to respect people's differences. But at the same time, you want to make sure that you respect yourself. Because you don't have no respect for yourself, then you'll say anything, or this person may say anything. But working together for a common goal, which is educating our children. That's why we're here. That's why we want to be on the school board, to make sure that we are the adults and we can in the future, be visionary for our students. And in a way to do that is communicate. Whether it's behind the scene, when we come out in the public, we should be together. I know you have executive sessions and so forth behind the scenes, but we come back, just be professional. There's nothing wrong with being professional and being cordial. I fought with folks who understand difference, so, you know, it's all about our children first. Thank you.
I'll just summarize it. We, as a board, need to follow our board policies and regulations, and we must agree to disagree agreeably. And that will take care of it.
Thank you. At this time, we will have our closing remarks from our candidates. We ask that you remain on task with the 2 minutes or less. We're at 8:06. Thank you so kindly. Beginning with Mr. Hayward, District 6.
Right me. And really, I apologize for that, and I was fussed at several times for not, getting petition done, and, so my name would be on the ballot, but I'm hoping that, my friends, all of you, anyone, everyone, can go in and write my name in for District 6. I mean, this means a lot to me. I do enjoy working with the kids, working with the school system. I've had a taste of it now since I retired from USDA. And considering my experience, I feel like I'm uniquely qualified to handle this role. And, there's a lot of change that needs to happen. We've got some great ideas. I think we even have a superintendent now that has a real vision about, what needs to happen in our district. And I do support Dr. Williams. I understand there's a lot of press about him, but pushing all that aside, he seems to be a very capable person to me. So what I've heard from him so far, I applaud. I think he's doing a great job so far. But I just want to have an opportunity to work with him to make this district the best school district in the state. I want the kids that we graduate here to feel equal to those coming out of Greenville County, Horry County, Charleston County, Lexington, Richland, you name it. I don't want them to be embarrassed by the level of education that they receive. So that has got to end, and I think it's going to end with us on this board. Thank you.
At the end of the day, it's all about our children. At the end of the day, it's about holding people accountable, holding all our stakeholders accountable, like I said earlier. It's all about holding folks from the bus driver to the superintendent, to teachers, making sure that they have the resources to teach our children, making sure that they feel confident, making sure that they are valued, like I said earlier. If you got teachers and you got bus drivers, you got employees who don't feel valued, they're not gonna give you 100%. They're only gonna give you 100% when you're around. If you got a principal who don't feel important, that person is not gonna give you 100%. I worked in the school district. I've seen it. I was a teacher for over 20 years. I was an administrator for over 15 years. I understand. I hired folks. Truancy officer, hearing officer. I saw our parents came and wanted a second chance for their children. Not to be biblical, but God gives us a second chance every day. It's up to us as leaders in the community to make sure that that second chance comes to our children. No, this ain't New York, this ain't California, this is Williamsburg County. And if you love your county, you'll give your all for the county. And that's what I plan on doing as your next school board member. So I ask you, I need your support. I need your prayers. But on November 8th, I need you to vote Dr. Kenneth Burgess, Williamsburg County School Board, seat at large. Thank you.
Attorney Cesar McKnight.
Well, first of all, thank you for everyone coming out tonight and listening to us. I appreciate the opportunity you share my visions and what I think we need on the school board. I believe I bring a unique skill set that would be essential or necessary for a successful board. I run my own business, so I know what it's like to work in a budget and have to stretch a buck an extra mile to get it to where you know. I also know the ins and outs of business. I'm the product of educators. My grandparents are all educators. My aunt's an educator. She's a member of Delta Sigma Theta, shameless plug. But I think that when you have a unique choice to make, and what do you want in a school board trustee member? Do you want someone who brings real world experience, knowing what it is to have a budget, having to work within it, having to work with others, someone who has had real world experience in Columbia, making bills and laws, and working with our state superintendent of education, Molly Spearman, and staff? Do you want someone who has seen firsthand what it is we need to do on the state level and how to get there? And I think once you look at that, you'll see that on November 8th, your choice is patently obvious. So I'd ask for you for your thoughts, your prayers, and most importantly, your vote on November 8th. Thank you.
District 4, Dr. Janice Campbell.
Well, I thank you for allowing me this opportunity. I thank those of you who came out to hear us this afternoon. I just want to say that I have worked at every level in this school district. I've also worked at the state level. I bring unique characteristics to this board. I understand parents, I understand teachers, principals, district level folks, as well as the superintendent. I am asking you for your vote on November the 8th. I'm asking you to give me another opportunity to serve the children as well as the other constituents of this school district. I am asking you to help me to help our county move forward, because everything that we do in the school system, everything that occurs in this county is dependent upon the school system. The county can become better only if the school system improves. I am asking you for your vote on November 8th. And I know that we can bring fiscal stability to our school district, as well as continued academic success. If we work together, we can and we will have a successful school system that educate all children, regardless of their ability to learn or their ability to play basketball or football or whatever. We can provide a place for all of our children to grow and be prosperous in. Thank you.
District 5, Laura King.
I want to thank you ladies for inviting us tonight. I thank those of you who are on the days with me and all of those who are seated out in the audience. I am uniquely qualified to be elected on November 8th because I bring experience. In the past 2 years, the board has written new policies. The board is attending workshops and training sessions sponsored by the South Carolina School Board Association. The board is now receiving the same reports from the superintendent that he sends up to the State Department. We are getting information from our principals and from our schools. I stand on restoring our school district, restoring this board to its original status as it should be. We do that by recreating and regaining the trust of the community. I know that transparency is the key for trust. We do that by building bridges, tearing down the walls that have separated us, tearing down the walls that have made the obstacles between us. But we can build bridges, not just in Williamsburg County, but across county lines, We have Bowen and Volvo right across the lines. We have Honda. We have these other districts. We can build bridges so that they will want to come and be a part of what we're doing in Williamsburg County. Finally, we do all of that by keeping students first. We keep students first because we meet them where they are in their learning. We give them ownership. Let them learn sometimes at their own pace with the appropriate support. We can do this. We will do this. So on November 8th, if you're in District 5, vote Marva Gale Canyon, your best choice for District number 5.
Let's give our candidates another round. I say thank you to all of you for one, agreeing to come, and two, helping us to do what we said we were going to do. Help our voters to become more informed and can make a more informed decision. You know, schools and education, they're so important. They've already expressed that, so I'm not going to repeat their responses to you. But I think you know how important education is to our county and our state and to everyone, all of our boys and girls. But you know, we have a lot of people here, so let's say thank you to everyone. When I saw the rain earlier, I'm saying, ooh, but I thank you for not letting that deter you. Also, we'd like to thank those who are live on Facebook for being with us, and hopefully you found this experience informative. Right now, we would like, well, before I do that, let me have the members of the Social Action Committee to please stand. Thank you so much. You work hard, and I appreciate your work. Now, I introduce to you and bring up our president, Sarah Beverly Campbell. She will bring greetings and say good night. Oh, before she comes, let me say thank you to Monica Murdoch for reading. She did an awesome job, even though she was back there telling, you know, can't even, we all want to tell you what she told me.
Good evening. Good evening. We do understand separation of church and state, but Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated is an organization of women that is founded on Christian principles. So along that lines, I will tell you that Hosea 4:6 says, our people perish for lack of knowledge. And when you ignore that knowledge, then he punishes us and he ignores our children. We cannot let that happen. I thank those of you that joined us this evening for trying to ensure that there is no lack of knowledge, for ensuring that our communities, ensuring that our families, ensuring that our children have the best opportunity there is to be the best that they can be, because awesome things come from Williamsburg County. It has been proven again and again. So to all of you, I say good luck. And to all of you, I say exercise the right to vote that has been fought for, that has been died for. Make sure that you exercise that right and that you take someone along with you on November 8th. At this time, before we close, I ask the members of Kingstree-Lake City Alumnae Chapter to please stand. Let us give them a hand. I thank all of you again, as Soros has said, in coming to join us this evening, and I bid you good night.